Happy Sunday. Well, this is new. I have some time that I was supposed to be recording podcasts today, and instead friends of mine couldn't make it, so I'm going to bake some bread. So again, I'm Crystal Farley, the Stress Management Maven. I've launched my own company called See Far Beyond the Box, as well as I'm a co-host of PTSD, People, Trauma, and Stress Discussed, and now my Crystal Farley sort of cooking, sort of thought leadership, whatever it is, show where I just talk to you while I cook. And sometimes it makes sense, sometimes probably more often than not it doesn't. But either way, I like to cook, so I share that with you. Okay, that being said, today I'm going to make some gut-friendly SIBO bread. So if you haven't joined before, I traditionally cook low FODMAP, as well as anything that's going to be gut-friendly, easy to digest, because I have a lot of digestion issues, as does my husband. And this special magical creation that I'm making tonight, I will share with you the recipe slightly. So you can find it at Jessica Cox SIBO Friendly bread. And I change it up. I do a variation of it. It's pretty magical bread. It's very dense. It's very tasty. It probably costs about $20 a loaf to make. But it's so good and so good for you, and it lasts a long time. So because it's so dense, you don't need a big piece. But just so you know, I'm also drinking some red wine tonight. So my favorite type of red wine is the Beaujolais Nouveau Georges de Boeuf. Only comes out at holiday. And I get a few bottles every year, and I just try to drink it and savor it for as long as I possibly can. But I feel like once you open a bottle of red, you need to just drink it. But anyway, this is only my first glass, and my glass does say "fuck your fears," so sorry for that. But I do actually believe that you should not listen to them too much. So that being said, really cool. So in this recipe, there's actually carrots, which is kind of an interesting thing. So I will be steaming my carrots to get them ready for the bread. I always make a double batch of these carrots, of the bread. So I just kind of guesstimate, what is what. You know me, if you've been watching at all, I don't measure. I just kind of go with it. For this one, I do have a recipe built in my Fitness Pal from a previous, from when we used to track our food, and I kind of go with that just a touch, just to sort of see, make sure I'm in line, because I never write things down, which, maybe someday I should. I guess that would probably be helpful, but why? Just go with it, right? I feel like it's not going to taste bad, no matter what I do. So I'm going to do this thing. Oh, so fun story today. So, I'm a normal human being, right? I always say, what you see on Facebook and Instagram is not always real life. But today, I was telling my husband, I always actually say, so my quote is that the vagina controls everything. So in my mind, I control everything. Or I should, anyways. I don't, obviously, because the universe always has more plans for us. And so this weekend, I was shocked as shit that we didn't have any plans this weekend. Because I was like, gosh, we've got to be missing something. We've got to be doing something. My daughter, I was trying to have something going on with her. But no, we actually didn't have anything going on. But instead, the universe was like, we're just going to keep you busy with some other stuff. So, our drain got clogged. So apparently you can't put eggshells or in our disposal, you cannot put eggshells because it gets caught up in some sort of area that it's like a dip in the pipes. So you can't actually do that. So there's that. So we had to do that, and then I have a new office in Bedford, New Hampshire. So there's that, which is pretty cool, and I get to start working there. I actually have a meeting there tomorrow morning, so I'm spending the weekend getting that set up. I'll have to do a video from there so you guys can see it, but it looks pretty awesome, and I'm really excited to share that. I'm really excited to share that with the world, because it's where I'm going to do some of my more intimate workshops. And it'll be really a nice place for me to, it'll be a really nice place for me to share just, I guess, my work and my life with people outside of my hometown here in Nashua. So, pretty pumped about that. So I'm just getting my carrots ready. I think about 500 grams of carrots or so. I really love the rainbow carrots, so I'm trying to keep all of the yellow and purple. But I did buy some other, bigger carrots for the beef bourguignon I made for my husband for this week. So I'm going to be using those as well as some baby carrots. But I always have carrots in the house or whatever, so it's not a big thing. But yeah, so you have to steam them to get them nice and soft because we're going to have to make a mash out of them. I use the blender and it's going to get real loud in here, but that's okay. Turn off the volume when it gets loud, I suggest. Alright, what's next? Where's my phone? Okay. So there's that. Next we have, I have to mix all the flours while it's doing that. So there's a bunch of different flours. So the most gut-friendly flour you're gonna find is buckwheat flour. Gluten-free, all that good stuff. And it used to be really, really expensive. So the loaves of bread have probably gone down just a touch with price now that buckwheat flour is a little bit cheaper. But it's all good. As long as it comes out when you poop a little bit easier than normal when you be. I think it's worth it. So you are worth it. Ooh, oh, yikes. I was stronger than I thought. So I want to share, I guess I'm going to share some of my vulnerability for the week because I feel like there's some new moon and some energy and emotions and things going on. And I tell you, let me take this just a touch. I tell you, I had a huge emotional release and it's not that time of the month. I don't get my period. I have an IUD, so full and fair disclosure, so don't go seeing that people because I know what you men are thinking. But it's really kind of scary taking the first step in, the first step in starting your own business. I think that, I've been, working towards this moment for a while, but it's not easy and it's super hard to just give up. Money should not be the measure of success, but reality says that it sort of is, right? I mean, yeah, that's on me, that's my belief, but when you stop making the money that you're used to making, it's a little scary. So, I've been having some struggles with that. My poor husband is doing the best that he possibly can, dealing with me and all that good stuff. But, he doesn't help in that he's scared, too, that, that he needs to support both of us right now. And, sure, I have a client and all that good stuff, but you don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So, it's a touchy subject in the house, and I had some pretty intense conversations with my mom this week, and so I feel like, the one thing I will say to everybody is that I definitely don't recommend, worrying about money because it always works out, and I always say, a good friend of mine listened to my podcast, I'm sure, because I always say that, it'll always work out. You can't worry about it because it will. And it'll never be as bad as it was before. Hold on one second. I'm just making, I'm grinding up some sunflower seeds. Super easy. Just a cup of them. So yeah, it's buckwheat flour, sunflower seeds, and most of the flours that are in this, the quote unquote flours, are nuts. So that's why it's super dense. There's a lot of calories in this bread. So if you're trying for a low-cal diet, it's not going to work for you. Almond meal. I don't know that I actually have almond meal. So let me see. Nope, so I'm going to have to do almonds, which is fine. I don't know that I've actually made granola for you guys yet either. Half a cup of almond meal. So I usually do 3/4 of a cup of almonds because it'll shrink down. Yeah, if you just like take whole almonds, you don't like almond meal is sometimes pretty expensive. You can just grind them down and make your own. It's the same thing. Just so you know. And sometimes almonds are tricky, but you just deal with it. Leaking. Leaking. Nuts are expensive. You don't want to lose those. Huh? I'm sure you guys are thinking you have nuts, right? Some whole ones still in there, but I don't have the patience, so it's okay. I feel like this bread's really hard to like screw up if you mostly follow the recipe. So if you guys actually look up the recipe, it's pretty easy to put your own spin on stuff too and make it like exactly the way you want it. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. For the most part, I am. All right, baking powder, cream of tartar, teaspoon. I'll get back to what I was saying in a second, guys. So, yeah, hold on. Cream of tartar is going to be 1 teaspoon, so we got 2 teaspoons. So, you know, for the most part, like, so I had a conversation with my mother. I posted on my Facebook last week. I posted a quote that I came up with, just essentially saying, and I think I talked about this one day last week, you know, don't worry so much about what other people have to say. Like, just say things and believe things and do things and whatever because you think they're important. And I think I really, you know, obviously I really believe that. And it's taken me a long time to get there, don't get me wrong. But I think, you know, my mom called me and she was really upset. She had a really hard time. You know, she's been scared to talk essentially since my father and her were married. You know, she was bringing that up to me, and I was like, you know, I felt just so terrible because, you know, she's still hiding behind that. Like, my dad's been dead for a long time, and they've been divorced for a long time. So, I mean, it's just like crazy to me that she's still holding back. Hold on, I can't do 2 things at one time. That she's still holding that, like, that regret. You know, and I said to her, like, seriously, I wouldn't have my sister if it wasn't for that marriage, so I'm grateful for that marriage happening, even though it was kind of a shit show for her. Sea salt. You know, so I couldn't be happier that happened, even though I know it's, like, super bummer that they're divorced, and that my father passed away and she has regrets. She did take him back 4 times. So my dad was, you know, I miss him. He absolutely got me. It's amazing how intuitive that man was. But he had 4 wives and he had a great time while he lived. And, you know, he probably didn't. Like, there were probably definitely skeletons in his closet. He never talked about his past. You know, and my mom definitely just struggled with my father, and he cheated on her, and he left her when she was pregnant, and, you know, she regrets not saying anything then. And, you know, she, up until this day, her most recent husband passed away because he had cancer, and pancreatic cancer, and, you know, I think it was a little bit of an eye-opener for her because, you know, she had spent the last, you know, few months taking care of the man. And so, you know, it kind of bit her in the ass a little bit. And so she just, I think, has been doing a lot of reflection, especially, you know, when you experience loss, I think you sort of start to go through your life and it's a, you know, loss of a job or a new beginning. It's when it's a new year, it's like, you know, you're constantly putting pressure on yourself to try to see, like, how is the next year going to be different? How, being that I'm not a caretaker, my mom's thinking, being that I'm not a caretaker anymore, you know, what am I supposed to do next? Like, what is her purpose in life? What is her meaning in life? So, you know, she's really struggling. And so I I took that in, right? Because I made her think about that. And I am proud of myself for making her think that. But I just, you almost got me get hit in the head. At the same time, it's hard on me just because that's really personal. Like, I have no problems working with people, trying to figure out their issues and like what's going on with them. But when it comes to like something real personal like that, it's really hard, right? So, I think, I struggled with it, but we had a really great conversation, and now my sister might let her live with her. I don't know. Whatever. Parents are parents, and if you are like a 20-year-old kid right now, be kind to your parents, because even if they are shitty, they're still your parents, and I would really hate for one day to regret that you never had the opportunity to talk to them. So my husband's calling, so I'm gonna go. You guys have a great night. It was really great catching up today, and I will talk to you all probably tomorrow when I make my bread. Thanks for listening. We'll catch up again on this tomorrow. Bye.